Hey guys, Jake here, and today I want to go back 11 years. I want to talk about the year 2010. 2010 was an interesting outlier year for racing games. As I say, there were about 5 notable games that were released that year in the racing genre, but about 3 of them had a big similarity. They were all what I would call action racing games. Obviously, all racing games have some type of action, but these games, I would say, have another level of it by introducing something unrealistic, whether it's buildings crashing down and explosions happening Michael Bay style, using power-ups to hit and take down other cars like in Mario Kart, or using helicopters and EMPs to take down racers. Split Second, Blur, and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit had a lot of similarities, but I think you can narrow it down even further just to Blur and Split Second. These were easily the 2 most similar games of the year, but they had their stark differences. The art style is very different. Blur uses licensed cars while Split Second doesn't, and they both have different unique mechanics. But going back to my original point, they're both action racing games, as I like to call it. They were both released in the year 2010. The studios who developed both games wanted a sequel to happen, but it didn't. Yet somehow footage of both of them ended up on the internet, and both of the development studios were closed down shortly after release of both games due to poor sales. There is a lot of strange coincidences with the similarities of Blur and Split Second. For me, personally, Blur's my favorite of the 2, but this video isn't really about my opinion. I want to focus on that footage on the internet part. Both Blur and Split Second had sequels planned, and the developers seem to be really passionate about both games, but they were never finished due to poor sales of the first one and the publishers closing the studios down. Blur is known to have the most content about its sequel online. There's a really interesting video you can see from Super Type 1 about Blur 2 and its cancellation, but Split Second 2 doesn't have as much information about it. There is a video or 2 online showing one of the dev builds and some of the new features that they were going to have. There's this really interesting city mission level that no doubt shows their ambition for a sequel, but it never came to light. However, the footage of this one prototype is the main piece surrounding Split Second 2 on the internet. But what if I told you there's another prototype out there with footage that's been sitting there on YouTube for a year now? On March 23rd, 2020, a YouTube channel called NotMG uploaded this footage of what perceives to be a Split Second 2 dev build that isn't the one we've seen several times before. In fact, if you take into account that BlackRock Studio was from England, that means this build is from January 1st, 2013. And BlackRock was shut down in 2011. Did someone get their hands on this build and modify it later? I don't know what's going on here. And there's this footage sitting right here on YouTube, but I'm not going to analyze all of it. Instead, I want to show it to you live, because believe it or not, I have this build. Now usually I don't disclose the sources on things like this if they don't want to be disclosed, but this one was a different case. The guy who uploaded this video, who I got the build from, was an interesting fellow.
You dummy, you really think you can have this dev build? You are stupid. I hate your channel. I exposed you years ago. You say thing too much.
Okay. I know I said thing a lot in my old videos, but trust me, my vocabulary and my editing and the way I say things has all been improving since then. We've been arguing about this for an hour, and you've said you've had this build for quite a while, and honestly, I'm starting to doubt that you have that, and I'm also starting to doubt—
Are you seriously going to think if I have this now? Are you serious? Okay, I will show you right now if you want to be proven this, alright? Let me just minimize this. Where is it?
Is that his TeamViewer password?
See, we got right here in my documents. Right here. See, you are stupid. The fact that you even question me makes you stupid, and immediately removes all the credibility from your YouTube channel. And honestly, I hate your channel to begin with. I don't even know why we're having this conversation. If we're talking at all, if we're trying to have some stupid deal, why'd you even contact me? You knew. I exposed you years ago. You just knew that I wasn't going to accept it. So we've been arguing about it for an hour. I'm still not going to give it to you. You can make any reason that, like, oh, I should have this because I want to cover this. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Your channel has been a joke since 2016. Why is TeamViewer running?
Sorry, I don't really need you anymore. After all the trouble I went to get this build, it is actually working. It took a while to load and get some things set up. There was a few things I had to change, a few things I had to check. but it's running. Obviously, so far, it doesn't look any different than the original split second, but you can see here on the title screen, it's just got the same one. But if you press start, it blacks out immediately and goes into cutscene.
Hello here, Ashley here with 69 News at 9. Today there is a fucking apocalypse, and yes, I just swore on the news because I don't give a fuck. People, you need to get out, everyone is dying. Ashley from 69 News at 9, and oh my fucking god, why is there someone with a Nissan Skyline speeding out there?
So as you can see, we're being immediately thrown into the game. There's not really a proper transition here or anything. It's very hard to control, and it's telling me to survive on the screen. And as you can see, there's a lot to unpack here. There's, cars flying around everything. Oh god! Cars flying around everywhere, explosions happening everywhere. There's an alert on the screen telling me a traffic car is incoming, even though it's usually a very, very inaccurate algorithm of trying to find where a traffic car is. And as you can see, they were kind of going with the bigger, badder sequel. Open world versus closed track, and sort of everything cranked up to 11. And as you can see, the game is about to fade out into another cutscene.
Ashley back for live coverage of the apocalypse at 69 News, and oh my fucking god, why is that Nissan Skyline still out there? Along with everyone else who is still alive, they need to get the hell out of here. I hate my fucking job.
And see, now we're put into the game from another cutscene, and my car is already flipping over. Alright, back in the game now. But yeah, as you can tell, this has a lot of problems. Now we can actually stay in game because it actually plays 2 cutscenes, and then you can finally control yourself. Holy crap, that is definitely a truck clipping to the ground. But 2 interesting things about that news report. One is, actually no, 3 actually. First one being that its text-to-speech seems to be a placeholder unless they were going for a very strange type of news report. 2 being that you can hear the news reporter swear, and also pretty high level swears as well. Not the ones I would expect for a game like Split Second. I'm not sure if they were trying to do the whole we want to do a more mature game kind of direction. That's what they might have been going for this. And while I'm exploring around here with, the entire city exploding and shaking, third interesting thing actually is that the news channel in this game seemingly is actually a real one. Another YouTuber who does racing games, I've watched him for several years, Craptastic Jack, his local news station is actually 69 News. And this seems to be that exact same channel. And as you can obviously tell, I am driving an R34 GTR Skyline in here in this build. So they were going to go with, licensed cars and even licensed news stations. Honestly, I can't really see how many news stations or car brands would really want to jump on this game being all licensed and everything. I just really don't see it possible. And there's actually a jump cam, and I completely forgot how to get out of here. My car is extremely damaged, so I noticed my car is actually going slower than it was before. So there must have been some kind of mechanical damage in this game, which also seems kind of anti-Split Second. And my car just isn't really going at all. It's just going in circles. I can't get it going. It's just, I move it left, it just spins around. I'm gonna have to restart the game. Alright, so this is a bit later. I've gotten a bit further. I had to restart the game, obviously, and yeah, I'm making it through much better. It seems that what happens in this build is that every car in front of you just goes crazy when you get near it. Honestly, the craziest thing about this build might be the date. Obviously, BlackRock was shut down in 2011. This build apparently is from 2013, January 2013. I don't know how that would be. Maybe it's a build that got leaked in 2013. I have no idea how this would come to light. Honestly, there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. Man, this is just crazy stuff just flying at you constantly. Maybe if they had the idea of the open world just occasionally going crazy, sometimes maybe it would mean you would always need a prep. But this also makes me wonder how the races would work, and maybe how the TV stations and stuff would work, because if you notice, the TV stations in here in Split Second 1, it was crazy cool action TV show. Meanwhile in here, it's the apocalypse, get out. It has a much more serious, mature tone to it. And, well, that's just absolutely fantastic right there. And it's actually so hard to get on this highway. I know this highway is actually to exit, but it's so hard to get onto it because my car is so slow now. And I actually think we are entering the end of the city right here. Yep, this is where I remember the ending being, and it should, yep. All right. You escaped? All right, nice. And my car actually just crashed right there. Yeah. So you can now just see we were put back into the title screen after that. There's a lot to this build, but also not a lot at the same time. There's a lot to really unpack because it's just so different from the original prototype and the first game, but not much because there's only one opening mission, but barely anything else. So this is a very, very strange, really interesting build of Split Second 2. Split Second is really loved by some people, so I saw this online and I knew I had to have it and take a look at it. So I want to know what's interesting about this prototype to you guys as well. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy April Fool's Day, and I'll see you guys later.